So
Right.
we really wanted to know more about um, everything you do, your background. So we know that you moved from Syria to Finland.
Right.
When did you move, and more specifically,
Uh, ni-
why?
1989,
Yeah. Did you
and
move with? Yeah.
I came alone. I was 17 years old, and I came here to see if there was any chance for me to continue my studies here in Finland.
Yeah. What were you
I came
studying
I
in?
came I came all alone. I didn't have my parents with me, so I started to look at something that I would like to continue, and I started struggling into changing my visa status from tourist to a student, but it didn't work. And then finally, I got into studying constructions to become an engineer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you work? What were you doing
Then I
before you became those kids era? Were you working in engineering or?
I specialized myself in commercial diving.
Mm,
So I worked as an underwater construction diver, and for marine projects, and
interesting.
that's what I did for a few years. And of course, along with many other things I have done, business and running a restaurant and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I opened also my own import and export company early, let's say 2006 or seven. I'm sorry.
No problem.
And then 2011, this whole thing broke out. And I started. I'm sorry. Oh
That's okay.
God.
Bless you.
Thank you. So I had my own also construct import and export company that I used to distribute sports nutritions to the Arab world
Mm-hmm.
and also Finland. And been running this company for a few years, and then this whole thing started at 2011 in Syria. And then I was emotionally paralyzed. I couldn't do anything because of the horrifying images coming out of Syria every day. And then I decided to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2012.
So we know your kids inspired you as well to start
Yeah,
donating toys, but
yeah.
what really made you one day you woke up and you said, "Okay, I'm doing it. Let's do it." What was the really like the element, the event that made you do it?
Well, I've been watching closely. I mean, 24/7 every day, the horrifying images coming out of Syria, and especially the number of refugees flocking to neighboring countries. I I was having this burning sensation inside me that I cannot just stay still and watch these, images, uh, overwhelming images coming out of TV. So I had to do something, and I wanted to help, and I didn't know how to help, and I thought the best way for me to help is get as closer as possible to the conflict and see with my own eyes the situation, and then figure it out from there and how exactly we could help. And so I decided to travel to Turkey, taking with me my own savings. It was about $5,000 at that time, and I thought I would get on the ground and see what's the situation look like and see what I can do. And that's when I decided first to go, 2012.
That's so interesting. And did you have any other humanitarian experience before or interest at all, or it
No.
was really because of the cause, because you were from
Yes,
there?
I have.
Yeah.
I had no idea what a humanitarian work looks like, or sounds like, or feels like before. I just wanted to see what I can do as a one man, and as of course a father of six, I couldn't really
Mm-hmm.
watch these kids suffering due to these horrifying war stories.
Yeah. You've done about 28 trips so far this year.
Yeah.
Maybe my numbers are
Yes.
not accurate.
That's
to
true.
deliver the toys. How many more are you planning on doing? What are your plans for the next couple months, years? Do you have anything, or are you just really going with the flow?
There is no really going with the flow. I mean, I try to always campaign for my work inside Syria for the whole 2 month when I'm in Finland, and then when I'm close to that goal, then I set up my trip to Syria, and then we have few projects inside Syria from building school. Right now, we have just finished building a school, and of course we have to go there in about 10 days max, and then check out the school. How does it look like, and what else we could also do there. We have also orphans we take care of, and many other things that we do try to do inside Syria. So it takes a lot of preparations. It's not always easy, but I have to be I have to travel myself as frequent as possible just to make sure that this little money that we manage to collect goes to the right directions.
Yeah, I've noticed that you use we, and I've noticed that you work closely with an organization called SSY. What is
Right?
it? Who are they? What is it exactly?
SSY is a Suomi Syria Yhteisö, so it is a Finnish Syrian association that I have established.
Okay.
It's an NGO that I have founded myself in 2014, early 2014, and of course, I couldn't continue working as a one man. People donate to me, and I didn't want people to donate to me, so I had to do this legal way. So I had to come up, I have to establish or register an NGO, and so people could donate to the NGO, not to me. So that is the NGO that is still working. So that means the volunteers working with me on the NGO.
And going with you in Syria, I guess.
No, no, no. There's
No,
nobody going to Syria.
no,
There only me.
only you, and
Nobody
you
can
work.
go to Syria.
Yeah, and you go. You work closely with the people who are already there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
So, what do you think of the actual? I know it's a very vague question, but at the same time, with a lot of things to say about it. But what do you think of the actual situation in the Middle East at the moment?
Well, it doesn't get any worse than now. In this, I mean, it's the worst case scenario right now. It's a time bomb it has exploded already, and it's going to spill over to the world. I mean, even people in Canada have already. I mean, living these. I mean, you took so many refugees to Canada from Syria. So I mean, Syrian refugees are now 11 to 12 million. 6 million of these refugees are still inside Syria, displaced, and another 6 million is living all around the world. So it doesn't get any worse than this. I mean, this is the worst humanitarian crisis that we ever faced since the Second World War. And unfortunately, there is no light in the end of the tunnel. And I mean, Syrian people, 2011, wanted to reform the government. They are looking forward to have a democratic government. They wanted to have a better life. And then they ride the streets protesting, and then they thought they're going to go after only one evil, one dictator. And all of a sudden, the Syrian people are facing the world's evils. All evils are now in Syria. And we did not really order this. And now we are paying for something we did not order. So that was not what we wanted. We wanted to change regime or even reform the regime. But so far we have 600,000 people dead. 500,000 people are missing or unaccounted for. With 1 million orphan, 12 million refugees, 60-70% of the country's infrastructure is destroyed. It's a failure state. And still, the devil is still in power. And not only in power, but he is also supported by the world's war criminals, like Russia, Putin, and China, and nobody. The sad thing is that those countries are are key players in the world's international policy. They control the veto power in the United Nations, so they can paralyze any resolution could come up to help and support the Syrian people. And that's what happens. Russia used 4 times or 5 times the veto power in the United Nations to paralyze or bring down any resolution that could solve or even condemn the atrocities taking place in Syria.
Do you
Sad
feel,
story.
sorry, yeah, do you feel like there's any help from other countries? Do you feel support, or you feel like Syria is really being left out in
We are
this?
totally left out.
Yeah.
We are completely abandoned by the world. We are completely abandoned. Syrians are left alone. Like, look what happens today in Aleppo.
Hmm.
It's a sad thing. I mean, just yesterday, 93 people died, and today, 28 people. I mean, bloodbath every day. Plus, there are 350,000 civilians living on siege in the eastern part of Aleppo. And this is not the only besieged country or area inside Syria. There are 12 besieged countries. There are 3 million Syrian civilians living under siege. You know, Douma, Madaya. It's been 3.5 years living in the siege. People there they can barely walk. They are skeletons. This is happening right under our watch. Nobody's doing nothing. Nothing. And now we have Donald Trump. No, this is he publicly say that he should support Vladimir Putin, and where do we go from here? This is. I mean, people ask me, how is the war in Syria? I say there is no war in Syria. There are wars with an S in Syria. There are many, many wars inside Syria. It's a proxy war. Superpowers are fighting for their interest in Syria against each other, and we Syrians are paying the price. This is the worst case scenario that could ever happen to a country or to a people.
What you think could be? I know it's a very, again, a large question, and that we probably don't have an answer to. But what you think would be the next step to make it better? The first steps to a solution.
I don't see a solution right now. I'm very pessimistic. I have never been so desperate. But right now I am, unfortunately. Doesn't look like anybody has the will or the power to twist Russia or fight Russia over Syria. There's no will at all. No, there's no will, and the only thing that could happen is I don't see any chance at all. I don't see any solution right now. The only solution they're providing is for the opposition to drop down weapons and surrender. And that means the country will be restored in the same hands that have been ruling the government for 50 years, stealing the people, robbing the economy, and now killing the people. So they're going to give Syria back to the same killer. This is the only solution they are providing. That's not a solution that Syrians could agree on. They have not sacrificed that much to drop down weapons. At the end of the day, it's their own country. And at the end of the day, it's their own life. And they are not going to give it away just like that, without a fight. So they are going to fight until the last man or the last bullet they have. They have no other choice, because they will be slaughtered. They will be slaughtered if this happens. And nobody's going to do anything about it. So right now, the opposition are not willing to drop down the weapons, because there's no sense of that at all.
How are the citizens, or most specifically the kids that you deal with over there? Obviously, they're really young, but they understand what is going on. And how are they feeling? Are they do they really understand what is they obviously scared, but do they really understand what is going on?
Well, of course, they are very, very scared, and they have no idea where this is going to go. But these kids has no other choice as well. So they have no other alternative for them. As you know, 6 million people or 6 million refugees, Syrian refugees, are living outside Syria. And they have already started a life there. Not much of a life, but it's still a life. And the rest are struggling day in and day out. And those who are still in conflict areas are struggling to survive. So I could tell you, I mean, there are hundreds and millions of very, very sad stories inside Syria.
I can imagine. And there's probably kids over there that they haven't known anything else in their life. They've been they're born in this environment.
They are born in conflict zones. They are born in war. They are born in refugee camps. So we have lost already one generation, and we are risking to face another one if we don't do anything about it. And so far, doesn't look there is anything that could be done right now. What could be done? I mean, everybody has his own agenda inside Syria right now, and it's getting ever more dangerous to be there. I'm to be honest with you, I'm right now thinking, I mean, 10 times more that how am I gonna complete or execute my work inside Syria next time on my trip? Should I change my bodyguards? What should I exactly do? Should I wear a bulletproof vest and put a helmet or some head protector? What am I gonna do? To be honest, I'm very stressed. But as long as there are people inside Syria who needs help, I cannot just leave them alone. I cannot just stay out.
How are these people feeling when they see you arriving? Are they how are they? Are they still positive, even though it's hard to be? Like, how are they feeling?
Well, of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, as like I told you, they feel abandoned. When they see someone coming in, they get the feeling that someone do still care. So, yeah, of course, it brings a little hope for a short period of time. It's like you've been starving for a week or 10 weeks, and all of a sudden someone comes and bring you food for a few days. It feels great. It feels like it's the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what's happening. So that's why I need to go there every 2 months to restore some faith in these people. For the people, at least I help, not everybody. I wish I can help everybody. The problem is so huge that it requires countries to help. I mean, what one man can do, what one NGO can do, nothing. But at least I'm trying my best. At least I can comfort my conscience by saying I've done my best, you know. And if things goes down in history, and if one day I will be facing God on Judgment Day, and He was going to ask me, "What have you done?" I said, "I've done my best. It's the best thing I could have done." You know, I wasn't just sitting on the sofa and watching
on the TV,
watching news and you know, crying a little bit sometimes, and then, you know, at least I have done something, and I'll continue to do that.
Thank you very much. I have just a few questions left, which are more about you in general, just to know more a bit about your person. When and where were you the happiest in your life? It can be one specific moment or a period of your life.
Happiest moment?
Event, period.
Yeah, well, it was 2001 when I first saw. Actually, the happiest moment was when my wife told me she was pregnant.
Yeah. The first one of 6.
Yes,
After the sixth
absolutely.
one, I guess you you get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. The fourth and the fifth and the sixth, I was like, okay, okay, what's new?
Been there.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that was probably the one of the most happiest moments when she told me that she was pregnant. The second happiest moment is that when, of course, we got our first child, and uh, and of course, every time I go to Syria, of course, it's always a happy moment. Every
mm.
time I see those kids inside Aleppo, these orphans, these are moments that charges my batteries. And I people ask me, why do you keep going there? I said, you haven't seen these kids' faces when they see you.
I mean, you
And
must start getting attached to some of them as well that you've
absolutely,
seen a couple
absolutely,
times now.
absolutely. I mean, I don't consider myself having only six kids. I consider myself having 600 kids.
It's what?
You know, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful feeling when you know that you are known among these kids. You know, when they run around you, and they, even sometime when I'm done distributing candies or toys to the kids, of course, aside from the other projects that we support and sponsor, but kids don't really see the other things you do. They see only that toy, that this is the guy who gave me the toy. So when I'm walking in the streets, sometime buying something, or going to the market or whatever, and they kids come and they start giggle between themselves, and they say, "Oh, is that this Uncle Toy? That is the you know."
They call you Uncle Toy.
Oh yeah.
Who started calling you Toy Smuggler?
Well, it was the Finnish media, I believe,
Uh,
when they interviewed me, and they asked me, how did you get inside Syria? I said, I have smuggled myself in, because on 2015, my Turkey closed all the borders with Syria, so there was no practically any legal way to get in. So I couldn't really, you know, settle for not being able to get in. So I had to just continue going in, and I there was no other way for me to get in except through illegal means. And I didn't want to go in without my toys, so I had to smuggle these toys with me. So I was carrying these bags on my shoulders, you know, up hills, through the forests, and down hills. Sometime, on my feet. Sometime rolling, and falling from downhills with my bags, so injuring myself many times. But in the end of the day, I made it to the, final destination, and I managed to have these toys with me, and then share these beautiful moments with the kids.
you still do that now? Do you
Well,
have to do
I
that
have
every
done,
time, or you
I
found a
have
better?
I have done 11 illegal trips to Syria
Okay, out
through
of
smuggling
28.
myself. Yeah, and hopefully no more.
Yeah,
Now it's been public. Everybody knows I'm a toy smuggler,
they're
and of
looking
course
for
the
you in the wood.
Turkish government probably will interrogate me next time they see me. Hopefully they don't detain me. I'm
No.
really stressed about this.
Yeah.
So I'm working hard right now to get my license, in a way, register myself as a local NGO in Turkey, so I can have my legal license to get in Syria from Turkey and get out legally.
More
So
safely, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I just have to walk through the borders
Hmm.
from the humanitarian gates, which could take me probably an hour that get in, instead of a day and a half.
Yeah, that makes more sense, I guess. Um, when you're not smuggling the toys around Syria and in between Turkey, what do you do when you're back home?
In Finland,
Yeah.
usually when I'm back from Syria to Finland, I am trying to get back to reality. It takes me about a week that I can understand, or that I am no more in danger.
Mm.
Nobody's trying to bomb me or anything. So Yeah, I try to spend some time with my kids. Accompany them with their hobbies. They play soccer, so I try to attend that and behave as a father.
Yeah.
So it takes me a few days to do this, and then later I started, of course, going through my materials, what I have done inside Syria. You know, checking out the videos, the pictures, and started, of course, updating. You know, what I have done, telling people what I've done. Attending press conferences and all that. So trying to talk about the situation in there and raise awareness. Talk in seminars, and this is pretty much it. So what I do here, and then all of a sudden, I mean, time goes very quick, and then it's a month gone by, a month and a half, and then already I'm starting to prepare my next trip because I travel every 2 months.
How are your kids feeling when you leave? Do they understand where you're going, and do they understand the danger?
Well, lately, of course, my elder kids are, of course, they know the danger related to the work. They, of course, I mean, my eldest daughter, she once answered a journalist asking her the same question. How do you behave when aren't you scared that your father was going there and all that? And she said, my daddy's a tough guy. So they they have faith in me that I wouldn't do the wrong thing. Of course, we stay close while I'm there through WhatsApp
Mhm.
messages, and yeah, well, I mean, little kids don't really know how dangerous it is because
Yeah.
we don't really talk much about it. I mean, I don't share with them tough moments. I just share with them only, toy distributions and candy distributions, things that makes kids happy. So they see that part of my trip. I try to keep away the other crap that I go through from, bad documentations of bombings and collecting bodies from the ground and things like that.
Mhm. Which living person do you most admire? It can
Living
be,
person,
yeah, it can be close to you that you know, or someone that you don't know.
right? Well, I do admire Prophet Muhammad because he was an orphan himself and he was a poor man. So I learned from him a lot, and I learned his humbleness and how much he reiterated time and time and time and time again that taking care of an orphan, it's as if, you know, kicking the 8 doors of heaven and just entering. So he constantly, praises the work of taking care of an orphan. That's a person I don't know, I haven't met, but a person I have met, I gotta tell you, Robert De Niro.
You met him.
Yeah, no, I haven't met him, but of course, he's a guy that I know he's still alive.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
It's a tough question. I mean, it's a
it
question
is,
to
it is.
think of because you can admire
There is
someone
no
from
there
their
is no
birth.
right answer to this, I
No,
guess.
no right answer at all. It's your answer. And
Yeah.
finally, if you could change one thing in the world with no limits at all, you have all carte blanche, we say in French. So,
Right.
what would it be?
Definitely ending the war in Syria.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that this would ever happen anytime soon. And enough with the killing,
Hmm.
enough with destruction. You know, there should be a way out. And I would really, really love to see. I just sometimes close my eyes and wish, if I would open my eyes, this would be a nightmare, like as if didn't happen. But unfortunately, it does happen and happens every minute. I wish this would all go away. I can really do something else except smuggling myself in. Love to really go and operate inside Syria without the fear of being bombed. Like to take part in rebuilding my country. I cannot anymore imagine that I would be doing anything else except this. Life feels like it's tasteless right now. It's meaningless. It has no goal at all. It's like I cannot really anymore think that I would like to do it. I'd like to do this for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have no future goals anymore. For me, I am already so blessed to have 6 healthy kids living in a peaceful country like Finland. They go to very best education. They get the best education in the world. Great health care. I mean, we have all Finnish passports.
Mm-hmm.
We have, we have a roof on top of our head. And, what more could a human being wish? So I don't really go for I would like to have this or I would like to buy that. Nothing. I just wanted to see this sufferings to end. So I can be part of repairing the wounds.
Well, thank you very much, Rami, for your time. You're a really inspiring man.
Thank you.
Thank you for the insights. Hopefully it was going to open a lot of eyes in Montreal, Canada, which sometimes we don't see much, we don't know much. We see what is on the media, but sometimes it's not enough, fortunately. Yeah. And so yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
I'll talk soon. Right, I'll keep you updated. Thanks.
Right. Okay, bye.
Bye.